Some vehicles are born from necessity. Others are born from ambition. And then there are those that define an entire category without ever meaning to. Imagine a machine that began as a practical answer to mobility under the harshest conditions, only to evolve into the blueprint for the modern utility vehicle we take for granted today. Its shape was simple, its purpose clear, and yet its legacy reached far beyond its original intent. This is the story of how engineering, circumstance, and endurance converged to create a design that changed not only military logistics but also everyday driving decades later. A reminder that innovation can come from the unlikeliest sources. And sometimes, the most influential machines are the least glamorous ones. Stay tuned, hit like if you enjoy deep dives into automotive history, and comment below which classic vehicle you want to see covered next. The Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 of 1940 did not look like the kind of vehicle destined to influence future generations of cars. It appeared functional to a fault, with flat body panels, exposed wheels, and an unpretentious silhouette. Yet that very simplicity was the source of its brilliance. Developed by Ferdinand Porsche's team under strict wartime resource constraints, the Kübelwagen had to be lightweight, air-cooled, and versatile enough to handle Europe's mud, snow, and desert sand. The Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 emerged as an unlikely mechanical triumph. Built on the Beetle's chassis, it shared the same 985 cubic centimeters air-cooled engine but featured higher ground clearance and a skid plate to protect its underbody. It was a lesson in practical engineering. Every part existed for a reason, every surface had a purpose, and unnecessary complexity was trimmed away. This approach produced a vehicle that was not only easy to maintain, but also nearly unstoppable off-road. To understand the Kübelwagen's significance, we have to consider the mindset of its creators. The design brief prioritized reliability, minimal weight, and ease of production. Steel was rationed. Factories were under pressure. Field mechanics had limited tools. The Kübelwagen's body panels could be repaired with basic equipment. Its drivetrain required minimal fluids, and its air-cooled motor eliminated the need for radiators that could freeze or leak. The car's total weight barely exceeded 1,500 pounds, allowing it to float across terrain that would bog down heavier trucks. The rear-mounted engine provided excellent traction, and the independent suspension, rare for the time, kept all four wheels planted even on uneven ground. In field reports, drivers noted how effortlessly the Kübelwagen handled rough terrain. Its flat floor and minimal overhangs gave it approach and departure angles comparable to modern off-road vehicles. Despite lacking four-wheel drive, it often outperformed heavier military trucks because of its balanced weight distribution and tire design. Engineers at the time marveled at how the car's simplicity compensated for the absence of a complex drivetrain. The Kübelwagen became a rolling demonstration of efficiency under pressure, showing how design purity could outperform brute force. Mechanically, it shared its DNA with the Volkswagen Type 1, better known as the Beetle. The shared parts meant that replacement components were easy to find, and production could continue even under disrupted supply lines. The Kübelwagen's transmission was modified for lower gearing, allowing better torque delivery on inclines. The exhaust was routed high, reducing the risk of clogging in mud or water crossings. Inside, the seats were little more than metal frames with canvas stretched across them, but they could be removed in seconds to make room for cargo or stretchers. This flexibility foreshadowed the modular interiors of today's multipurpose vehicles. The Kübelwagen Type 82 also stood out for its ability to maintain performance in extreme temperatures. From the freezing Eastern Front to North Africa's desert heat, its air-cooled motor never overheated or froze. The simplicity of its carbureted engine and lack of electronics gave it an advantage in conditions where modern vehicles might fail without specialized support. This reliability made it invaluable to field operations. It was not glamorous, but it was dependable, a trait that would later inspire entire categories of civilian vehicles built around trust and endurance. Even its name reflected function over flair. Kübelwagen was a shorthand for bucket car, derived from its bucket-style seats. Yet within that utilitarian name lay the foundation for a design language that valued purpose over polish. Its sloping rear engine cover and upright stance gave it a profile that would echo through post-war utility cars, from beach buggies to early SUVs. The Kübelwagen was both a workhorse and a teacher. It showed that smart engineering could accomplish more with less. When the Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 entered production in 1940, Few imagined it would remain in service across nearly every front of the global conflict. More than 50,000 units were produced, a testament to its effectiveness and ease of manufacture. By comparison, rival nations struggled with heavier, overcomplicated designs that required more fuel and maintenance. The Kübelwagen proved that lightness and simplicity could be just as valuable as raw power. This lesson resonated long after production ended, influencing how engineers approached efficiency, materials, and weight balance in the decades to come. Every inch of the Kübelwagen embodied intention. Its boxy fenders kept debris away from the wheels. Its open cockpit allowed easy ingress and egress. Its canvas top could be removed or replaced within minutes. Unlike armored vehicles, it was designed for mobility rather than protection. The focus was on moving people and equipment quickly across rough ground, not surviving direct confrontation. This focus on speed and adaptability shaped the idea of what a light utility vehicle could be. The Kübelwagen's engineers had unknowingly created the earliest DNA of what we now recognize as the sport utility formula. Robust underpinnings, elevated ground clearance, modular interior space, and go-anywhere practicality. Although it was conceived for military logistics, the Kübelwagen Type 82's influence transcended that environment. After the conflict, engineers from multiple nations studied its design, examining how a car so minimal could perform so well. The key insight was mechanical balance. By keeping weight over the driving wheels, simplifying mechanical systems, and eliminating non-essential components, Porsche's team had created a platform that prioritized usability and maintenance over extravagance. Decades later, this philosophy would resurface in civilian utility vehicles marketed not for combat, but for adventure and independence. It is easy to overlook the Kübelwagen when discussing automotive milestones, yet its contribution to the idea of versatile transportation is immense. It redefined what vehicles could achieve when stripped of excess and engineered with purpose. This transformation from an unassuming field car to a mechanical archetype reveals how necessity often sparks the purest form of innovation. In many ways, the Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 stands as a case study in how constraints can lead to breakthroughs that shape industries for generations. The Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 of 1940 evolved from a simple concept into a cornerstone of mechanical philosophy. As the world moved beyond its initial purpose, engineers across continents began to recognize that what made it exceptional in the field could also make it remarkable on the open road. The Kübelwagen's success came not from brute strength or cutting-edge power but from balance, simplicity, and adaptability. These principles would later underpin the design of everything from civilian off-roaders to compact sport utility vehicles. Its air-cooled engine, rear-wheel drive, and feather-light body composition created a formula that inspired a generation of designers seeking efficient mobility for both rugged and everyday use. In examining the Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82, we find that its engineering foresight stemmed from restraint. Ferdinand Porsche and his team did not have the luxury of endless resources. Every component had to justify its existence. They applied what would now be called minimalistic engineering, cutting unnecessary features and focusing on reliability under stress. That same approach would later define Volkswagen's post-war resurgence. The Kübelwagen's shared components with the Beetle allowed the brand to restart production quickly, using tooling and expertise already established. Out of necessity, Volkswagen built one of the most modular automotive architectures of its era, decades before the concept of platform sharing became standard practice in the industry. After the conflict ended, a world hungry for affordable transportation rediscovered the practicality embedded in the Kübelwagen's design. Engineers who had studied its simplicity used those lessons to create vehicles capable of traversing undeveloped regions and rough country roads. Civilian derivatives like the Type 181, known in some markets as the Thing, directly trace their lineage to the Kübelwagen Type 82. These successors embraced its flat panels and open body design, offering a sense of adventure while retaining mechanical reliability. While the Kübelwagen had served in rugged conditions, its descendants transformed that toughness into a lifestyle statement. It became fashionable to drive something that could go anywhere. It was a sign of freedom, not duty. Beneath that shift was a growing fascination with off-road capability in civilian life. The Kübelwagen's layout offered a framework that could be repurposed for recreation. Its raised suspension and balanced weight distribution inspired new generations of designers exploring the potential for passenger cars that could also handle rough terrain. By the late 20th century, the SUV boom was built upon the very principles that had defined the Kübelwagen Type 82. Durable simplicity, generous ground clearance, and mechanical versatility. Vehicles that carried families on road trips or adventures into the wild shared the same DNA that once carried soldiers across deserts and forests. The Kübelwagen Type 82 also contributed indirectly to automotive testing philosophy. Its robust yet uncomplicated structure became a benchmark for mechanical endurance. Manufacturers later adopted similar lightweight test platforms to evaluate new suspension systems and drivetrain layouts. In research centers and proving grounds, the Kübelwagen's logic of doing more with less found new life. The concept of building a dependable backbone before adding complexity became a guiding principle for engineers across multiple brands. This lineage ties back to the Type 82's straightforward use of torsion bars, simple gear reduction boxes, and modular panels. Each piece a reminder that longevity starts with clarity of design. Yet, for all its mechanical elegance, the Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 carried the weight of its origin. It was a product of a dark historical chapter, which complicated its legacy. Post-war society had to grapple with the reality that a machine designed for military purposes could evolve into a symbol of civilian freedom. For some, the transformation felt redemptive. For others, it was a difficult reconciliation. The vehicle became a quiet case study in how innovation is rarely isolated from its context. Its engineering success did not erase its beginnings, but it did allow technology to move forward. By repurposing knowledge once used for logistics into civilian innovation, humanity demonstrated the power of adaptation and reinvention. This paradox added depth to the Kübelwagen's story. Every time the car's influence appeared in a new design, a compact off-roader, a utilitarian transporter, a recreational four-seater, it symbolized how progress can emerge from unlikely foundations. The Kübelwagen's straightforward chassis and air-cooled drivetrain also paved the way for the global spread of Volkswagen's engineering philosophy, one centered on accessibility and mechanical transparency. Enthusiasts around the world appreciated how easy it was to maintain, how logical its components were, and how resilient the underlying architecture remained even decades later. Mechanical purity often reveals itself most clearly in tough conditions, and few vehicles demonstrated that better than the Kübelwagen Type 82. Its combination of high ground clearance, rear traction, and independent suspension allowed it to outperform heavier rivals in terrain where mass worked against momentum. These qualities made it an ideal blueprint for later vehicles that prioritized balance over brute power. Engineers studying traction dynamics noted that the Kübelwagen's rear weight bias offered natural advantages for climbing and stability. The absence of front-wheel drive forced designers to refine suspension tuning and weight management to achieve capability through geometry rather than force. Those same insights shaped how later SUVs approached traction systems and ride quality. Even the Kübelwagen's manufacturing philosophy left a mark. The use of flat body panels and interchangeable parts simplified production, reducing costs and allowing field repairs without specialized facilities. This approach anticipated the modular manufacturing techniques that dominate modern automotive plants. Today's emphasis on flexible production lines and shared components owes much to these early experiments in efficient assembly. The Kübelwagen's legacy, therefore, is not limited to its performance but extends to how vehicles are built and maintained. When viewed through a design lens, the Kübelwagen's aesthetic restraint also predicted trends that would reappear in modern minimalist vehicles. Its form was dictated entirely by function, resulting in a design language that looked timeless in its honesty. In an era where complexity often overshadows clarity, the Kübelwagen Type 82 remains a reminder that form follows purpose. Its flat sides, clean edges, and direct proportions continue to influence the visual language of modern off-road and utilitarian designs. While contemporary vehicles incorporate advanced materials and digital systems, the Kübelwagen's mechanical straightforwardness continues to inspire designers seeking authenticity in a high-tech world. Through all its transformations, the Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 maintained an identity rooted in endurance and simplicity. It proved that smart engineering can transcend the circumstances of its creation. Every nut, bolt, and panel told a story of resourcefulness. The Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 of 1940 left behind a blueprint that resonated far beyond its utilitarian beginnings. As nations rebuilt and manufacturers sought to serve a civilian market eager for exploration and independence, The mechanical lessons drawn from the Kübelwagen shaped the next generation of multipurpose vehicles. Its combination of simplicity, agility, and dependability became the ideal model for developing automobiles that could handle both daily life and untamed terrain. Engineers studying post-war mobility realized that the Kübelwagen's practicality could serve families, farmers, travelers, and explorers alike. It represented a philosophy of durability that could translate seamlessly from the battlefield to the countryside and the growing suburban world. The Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82's post-war influence became most apparent in Volkswagen's own evolution. The company that had once built it for logistics found itself using the same core principles to produce vehicles for peace. The Beetle, sharing much of the Kübelwagen's mechanical DNA, became a global icon of affordability and freedom. Later, Volkswagen revisited its roots with vehicles like the Type 181, a civilian interpretation of the Kübelwagen's adaptability. The emphasis shifted from endurance under fire to resilience on road trips and daily commutes. The mechanical architecture, rear engine layout, torsion bar suspension, and simplified maintenance remained central. What had once served necessity now served adventure. The transition from a military tool to a lifestyle icon mirrored broader societal changes. As people embraced travel, outdoor recreation, and independent exploration, they gravitated toward vehicles that embodied self-reliance. The Kübelwagen's DNA fit that vision perfectly. The rise of off-road and sport utility vehicles in the decades that followed borrowed heavily from its ethos. Consumers no longer wanted cars confined to pavement. They wanted mobility without boundaries. Designers looked to the Kübelwagen's proportions, its raised chassis, flat panels, and exposed mechanical parts, as the essence of rugged honesty. From there, the SUV culture emerged, combining comfort with capability. But the Kübelwagen Type 82's influence extended beyond design. It affected the very idea of what a car could represent. Before it, vehicles were typically specialized, either built for comfort or for capability. The Kübelwagen blurred those lines, proving that one platform could deliver both durability and usability. This concept redefined consumer expectations and paved the way for crossover categories that now dominate modern markets. What began as a utilitarian transport evolved into an engineering philosophy that prioritized versatility. The result was a shift in automotive identity. Cars were no longer just transportation. They became extensions of lifestyle and personal freedom. From an engineering perspective, the Kübelwagen's approach to maintenance and modularity predicted many of the efficiencies that define today's automotive industry. It demonstrated that vehicles could be standardized across multiple applications without losing individuality. Volkswagen's later success in global markets stemmed directly from that principle. The Kübelwagen's modular mindset anticipated platform engineering decades before it became an industry norm. The ability to adapt a single core structure to a range of purposes, civilian, military, recreational, became one of Volkswagen's most powerful tools. Even the vehicle's physical construction reflected ideas that would eventually inform sustainable manufacturing. The Kübelwagen's flat body panels reduced waste in production, and its minimal use of resources foreshadowed a future where efficiency would matter as much as performance. Its lightweight structure improved fuel economy long before the term existed. These traits positioned it as an early example of eco-efficient engineering, even though its creators could never have imagined such a legacy. As time passed, the Kübelwagen's reputation shifted from historical artifact to design reference. Collectors and restoration experts began preserving surviving examples, not as symbols of conflict, but as milestones of mechanical ingenuity. Museums displayed them to illustrate the evolution of practical engineering. Enthusiasts appreciated their unpretentious charm and the tactile experience of driving a machine unburdened by excess. The Kübelwagen reminded the world that complexity is not always progress, and that the truest form of durability lies in clarity of purpose. The Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 also inspired a new respect for how engineering can outlast ideology. Its creation may have been tied to a specific time and place, but its innovations belonged to everyone who sought to build better machines. By surviving into post-war analysis, it became an educational tool, a case study in function-driven design. Students of automotive engineering still examine its layout to understand how geometry, traction, and simplicity interact to produce reliability. Each surviving unit serves as a rolling archive of mechanical problem-solving at its most distilled. The influence of the Kübelwagen Type 82 ultimately reaches into every corner of modern mobility. Whether in the shape of a compact SUV navigating city streets or a four-wheel drive exploring unpaved trails, its spirit endures. Its legacy can be felt in any vehicle that promises durability, adaptability, and ease of repair. More than a historical artifact, it became a mechanical philosophy. Engineer for purpose, minimize excess, and prioritize usability. In hindsight, the Kübelwagen's greatest contribution was not its service record but the mindset it inspired. It taught generations of designers to respect the balance between capability and simplicity. In a world obsessed with technological excess, its restrained engineering feels more relevant than ever. It serves as a reminder that progress sometimes means returning to the fundamentals: clarity of design, honesty of purpose, and respect for the environments we drive through. The Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 stands as one of the most influential vehicles in history, not because of how it looked, but because of what it taught the world about building machines that last. The Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 of 1940 began life as a simple solution to a specific challenge: create a vehicle that could handle any terrain, be repaired anywhere, and remain dependable under pressure. What emerged was far more than a utility car. It became a living demonstration of how elegant design can arise from necessity. By focusing on minimal weight, balanced traction, and mechanical clarity, its creators inadvertently wrote the opening chapter in the story of the modern SUV. Decades later, every crossover, off-roader, and adventure vehicle owes some part of its DNA to the lessons learned from this unassuming machine. When examining the Kübelwagen Type 82's enduring influence, one sees more than engineering success. It is a cultural reflection of how technology evolves through adaptation. The vehicle's transformation from a wartime workhorse to a model for civilian innovation symbolizes humanity's ability to repurpose ideas for better use. Its modular design principles shaped Volkswagen's post-war direction and inspired a global movement toward accessible, durable transportation. Even today, automakers still pursue the same balance of simplicity, performance, and practicality that defined the Kübelwagen's original blueprint. The Kübelwagen's story also offers perspective on progress. It shows that innovation often arises not from abundance but from limitation. Stripped of luxury and complexity, it revealed how thoughtful design could outperform machines built with more power or costlier materials. This lesson remains relevant in an era where efficiency and sustainability guide automotive development. Engineers now face challenges of range, energy conservation, and recyclability. In each case, the Kübelwagen's philosophy, do more with less, provides timeless guidance. For enthusiasts and historians, the Volkswagen Kübelwagen Type 82 is more than a mechanical relic. It is a touchstone that connects past and present, illustrating how purposeful design transcends context. Its influence is visible not only in Volkswagen's later vehicles, but across the entire automotive landscape. From minimalist electric cars to compact SUVs, the spirit of the Kübelwagen endures in every vehicle built to go further, last longer, and serve more people with less complexity. Ultimately, the Kübelwagen Type 82 stands as a symbol of resilience in engineering. Its flat panels, air-cooled heart, and balanced chassis taught the world that progress does not always come from radical invention, but from refining what works. It is a machine that outlived its circumstances and transformed necessity into inspiration. As we look ahead to new frontiers in automotive technology, the Kübelwagen's legacy reminds us that clarity, efficiency, and purpose will always be the true engines of innovation.